A girl was busy getting the bakery ready to open. Suddenly a strange boy walked in. He said he wanted to buy tofu. The girl instantly understood something. Only someone just out of prison would buy tofu at a time like that. She felt a little scared, but the bakery didn't sell tofu. She told him to try the supermarket next door. The boy looked disappointed and turned to leave. Just then a voice came through the radio. A music show that had never changed hosts suddenly had a new one. He looked up at the sky and took a deep breath. Maybe this unchanging world could still surprise him. The girl had no idea. She was about to start a love story with this ex-convict. A story that would last more than a decade. This relationship went through breakups and makeups. The process was rough but also sweet. Back in his senior year of high school, Hyun-woo and his friends were playing a ball game. Someone threw the ball too high and too far. A friend fell while trying to catch it and died. Hyun-woo took the blame to protect the others, but his friends never forgave him for it. The guilt left a wound that never healed. During his time in juvenile detention, he listened to that same music show every day, because every time the show ended, someone in the facility would be released. He longed for the day he'd get out. He hoped the world outside would be different, but once he was out he realized nothing had changed. Then one day at the bakery, he heard that the show had a new host. That was when it hit him. Even a world that never changes can still surprise you. This bakery started to mean something to him. It happened to be hiring. He decided to start a new life there. The owner, Mi-soo, and her sister were wary of him at first, but Hyun-woo worked hard and was kind. Slowly their guard came down. After that things went well between them. They opened up to each other. They'd also share the new desserts her sister made together. They listened to the same show together every day, and enjoy a quiet moment in the autumn rain. Hyun-woo was like a stone dropped into a still lake. Mi-soo's calm heart began to ripple. Christmas came before they knew it. Feelings were quietly growing between them. Just when everything seemed to be going well, Hyun-woo's old friends showed up at the bakery. They sat there and refused to leave. It hurt the shop's business badly. Mi-soo sat in the corner, angry but afraid to say anything. Hyun-woo had no choice but to leave with them. Mi-soo worried he might never come back. Hyun-woo and his friends were mourning their dead friend. Everyone stood in silence. A stranger's comment broke that silence.
뭔 제사를 씨발 재수없게.
His friends couldn't take the insult and rushed outside. Hyun-woo knew exactly what would happen, but he joined the fight anyway, because of his criminal record. He was sent back to prison for 3 years. Mi-soo waited for him every single day, but each day ended in disappointment. That same year a financial crisis hit. Mi-soo's bakery couldn't survive it. To reopen the bakery her mother had left her, Mi-soo decided to go find work. She took a job as an editor at a printing company, but she kept studying every day. She wanted a better life for herself. After his release, Hyun-woo took odd jobs near the bakery. One night they finally ran into each other again. They hadn't seen each other in a long time, but everything still felt fresh in their minds. Mi-soo invited him over to her place. The two of them felt awkward facing each other. Mi-soo found him one of her own oversized t-shirts. She even carefully trimmed the loose threads on the collar. They talked all night long. They only held hands, but the feelings between them were burning strong. When morning came and it was time to part, Hyun-woo couldn't help himself and kissed her. He was about to start his military service. That meant years apart again. Mi-soo gave him an email address, but in the rush she forgot to give him the password. Even though he could never open the account, Mi-soo kept writing to him every day. These emails held her longing for Hyun-woo. They also held her complaints about her own rough life. Later her job moved farther away. She had to move to a new place, but she had no way to tell him her new address. 3 years passed. The moment Hyun-woo finished his service he went looking for her, but she had already moved. Her family's bakery had become a real estate office. Hyun-woo rented the apartment she used to live in. He noticed the door code had never changed. He remembered she once said it was her student ID number. He tried the same code on the old email account. It actually worked. He finally read every email she had written him for 3 years. Mi-soo also got his first reply. She couldn't believe she was back in touch with him. They agreed on a place to meet, but their love story still wasn't smooth sailing. Hyun-woo got scammed by his old friends again. They tricked him into working at a gym. It turned out to be a membership fraud scheme. He deeply regretted the friends he'd chosen. He decided to cut ties with them for good, because he missed their meeting. Mi-soo felt disappointed again. He hesitated over whether to explain in an email. Then Mi-soo sent him a message. She said missing their meeting was actually a relief. She admitted she hated who she'd become. She said if they were really meant to be, they should meet again once they both became who they wanted to be. 5 more years went by. Through her own hard work, Mi-soo left the printing company. She became a writer at a publishing house. Her book won a major industry award. Hyun-woo finished college through independent study. He opened a photography studio with a partner. By coincidence, his studio was right next to her publishing house. They ran into each other again. It had been 11 years since they first met. Hyunwoo was no longer the troubled kid. Misu had become the person she wanted to be. Hyunwoo brought her back to his place. It was the same room she used to live in. She saw the walls covered with old photos of the bakery. She was deeply moved by it. That night they finally made things official. After 11 years of unspoken feelings, Misu wore his old Pepsi t-shirt, like a girl falling in love for the first time. She leaned against Hyunwoo shyly. The apple Hyunwoo peeled for her was just the right amount of sweet. Just like every couple in love, they went to the library together. They walked around town together. They took photos to capture every moment together. One evening Misu brought up marriage.
결혼할까? 남자들 이런 기분이구나.
Hyunwoo hesitated and didn't answer. He just stroked her hair while she slept. Maybe he felt he still wasn't ready. He couldn't promise her a perfect future yet. That day was the anniversary of his friend's death. His friends took him to visit the family, but they answered the door with cold looks. She could never forgive Hyunwoo, and he could never move past it either.
안 그랬어요, 진짜. 제가 안 그랬어요. 제발요. 죄송합니다.
알아도 몰라. 죽어서 정엽이한테 가서 말해.
Misu called to remind him to come home for dinner, but a friend answered his phone instead. Hyunwoo had left his phone in the car. The friend told her everything. That's how she learned about the pain he'd been carrying. She made him a big dinner that night. She wanted to comfort him, but his reaction wasn't what she expected. His friend's death was a wound that never closed. He wanted someone to understand him, but no one ever really did.
세상에, 난 너 한 사람만 몰랐으면 안 돼. 그냥 나 좀 믿었으면 안 돼.
어떻게 믿어? 네가 말을 안 하는데.
He left Misu in tears, and went to confront the friend who told her everything. When he came back home, she was gone. All that was left was her Pepsi t-shirt and the dinner she'd made. He ran everywhere looking for her. Then he saw her getting into her boss's Maserati. It turned out the boss had been pursuing her all along. He'd promised to help her reopen the bakery, but her heart had always belonged to Hyunwoo. He ran after the car as fast as he could. He finally realized losing her mattered more than any of his old pain. Misu cried the whole ride. To her his love felt too heavy to carry. His lack of trust in her hurt even more. She finally stopped the car and told him the truth.
뛰지 마, 영미야. 제발 뛰지 마. 응? 다쳐.
Then she drove away and never looked back. Hyunwoo stood there, filled with regret. Years later, through hard work, Hyunwoo became a photographer for that same radio show. One day the show had a special segment. Listeners could share the name of someone they missed most. Hyunwoo said Misu's name on air. She happened to be listening at that moment. When she heard her name, she couldn't hold back her emotions. She dropped everything and ran straight to the station. When she saw him standing there, changed for the better, she broke into a bright, beautiful smile. Hyunwoo captured that moment with his camera. After more than a decade of ups and downs, after tasting every bit of love's joy and pain, they finally ended up together.